Hey guys, this is my Tundra, and this is the anniversary edition that I got recently. It is the gray and orange scheme, and if you know the Tundra, you know it is a great flying plane, both on its stall, short takeoff and landing capabilities, as well as just being a very stable flyer, and I have found a very stable FPV platform. And what I love about this plane, a couple of things. One, why I chose it over the Timber. The Timber is a great flying plane as well. However, the battery hatch is on the bottom, which, if you've ever gone flying, flipping a plane over to put the battery in is a pain in the butt. Secondly is you've got this great canopy, second canopy option. As opposed to cutting into the foam and trying to place a camera somewhere, you can either fly this plane line of sight with the standard canopy or put in this. Now what I did was I painted mine. I personally like a clean look. I don't like the bare wood that I've seen a lot on some videos. Not a criticism, it's just for me it doesn't work. So what I did was I went out to a home improvement store, and for $3.48, this is a sample color size. Now it's not the whole quart, but it's like a half of a quart. But for $3.48, not bad. I had a match to this canopy color. And then I painted the outside edges of this in that gray scheme. Now I know with the lighting it's not super clear. And then I went to like a hobby shop, or actually a Hobby Lobby. My mom got me a gift card for 25 bucks to Hobby Lobby, thinking it would help my hobby, and I was like, that's the wrong kind of hobby. But I did get these little 77-cent paint. You know, you can get a little acrylic paint. I painted this black just to kind of help with the scheme. Now I also like to paint the inside. Now I got a chip just now right here, but you can see that I like to paint this the same color as the exterior, so that there's never white showing in other than the very inside of the model. Now I've set up my pan and tilt head tracking system starting with my DX9, and with the DX9 you go into your trainer mode selection, and then from there you're able to slave over a couple of the aux channels to run your pan and tilt. Those servos for the pan and tilt get plugged into your corresponding aux channels on your receiver. I actually have an orange 9-channel in here, which I'm using 7 of those channels, 8 of those channels, because this has a reversing servo. I actually put a new prop spinner nut on here, and I am using an HD3 Fatshark. Now I don't have the antennas on here because the range is close, but this shows you what happens. Now you can see the centering is off because of when I've centered this last. There's an HT tracking button, and it resets normal. So when you're sitting or standing, wherever you are, you can then get this to correspond to each other. It's actually a killer system. I've really enjoyed it. But there's a couple tips that I want to give you. One is that you got to choose your camera wisely. Now this system I got for 40 bucks from Hobby King for the Pan and Tilt 700 TVL. I don't like the camera. I have a RunCam Eagle in my EFXtra, which goes 100 miles an hour, and that camera is brilliant. It is a beautiful one. This one just does not handle light as well, or the colors as well. However, it was an all-in-one system, so that's why I started with it. Now also, when you have your head tracking system on, it is disorienting. A friend of mine flew his right into the backstop of a huge baseball field, because when you're going left and right and things like that, and yet you're going forward, what you're lacking is you have the visual information. You can feel the sticks on your fingers, but you don't feel the inertia of the plane moving to back up where you're looking and where you're turning. And so you've got to keep yourself pretty coordinated in terms of understanding where you are. Now to do that, what I do is, let's tilt this camera. I'm doing this all one-handed. If you look here, see, look, let's say you're looking to the right or left, you lose orientation. What I've done is I've added a kill switch for the pan and tilt. It's part of the trainer system that initially on a trainer system you can buddy box another pilot in or out of control. Well, this also does it for the head tracking. So right now the head tracking is on, but see, look, I flip this.
Head tracker off.
Head tracker off. And I flip this back on.
Head tracker on.
And the head tracker's back on over there. Where I really like this is takeoffs and landings. It's nice to have a very solid frame of reference. Now, I personally find that flying planes FPV is easier than flying them line of sight, because as you're looking through the goggles, right is always right, left's always left, and so forth. And when you have a stable, straightforward shot for a head tracking system, it's a great backup to make sure, until you really, you know, nail down head tracking and what you're seeing in the screen versus what the plane is doing, I would have this kill switch enabled so that you can have fun taking a look around and understanding the environment around you like you're a pilot, but also the backup of being able to land safely. So here we are, we're out at the field. I've got my head tracker unit active, taking a look around at a beautiful place called Mistlin Fields in Ripon, California. It's a great place to fly. Now you're gonna notice in just a moment that this video footage is going to switch to a standard def DVR that is recorded through the goggles. Now it is a 4:3 image and it looks much worse here in what you can see versus what I see in the goggles. The goggles are much brighter and more brilliant and definitely a better view than what you see. So as I taxi out, I look to the right just to make sure there's no soccer players that have come out into the field, because when you put these goggles on, man, you lose touch with everything visually around you. There, I just clicked off the head tracker. No longer is it moving around, and I know that my frame of reference is solid, that my horizon is my horizon. The reason why is when you're flying FPV, you've got to keep a couple things in mind, such as the wind direction and your perceived airspeed, so that when you do a barrel roll, you know you've got enough airspeed to make it happen. Now here I click off the head tracker and boom! Look at this. It is like my head is sitting up on top of a plane in the clouds. My butt is in the chair, but my head is here. I mean, this is to me what makes head tracking so awesome. It's worth the cost, worth the effort and the time and the weight in the plane to be able to take a look out at the ground like that, like you're sitting in a cockpit. If you've ever flown a personal aircraft, you know this is what it looks like. I got a chance to fly over the San Francisco Bay. I circled Alcatraz and boom, it looks like this. The only difference is it doesn't feel like this, which for some guys might be a very good thing, because when in just a moment here, I take a look out the left wing and I do a barrel roll to the right, which for some people, that might make you vomit. And coming up here, I'm gonna make a left-hand turn and I'm coming into land. Now I've locked the head tracker again. It is no longer active. And this is the one challenge with FPV, is understanding your altitude as well as your airspeed when you come in to touch in for a landing. It just takes a little bit of practice to be able to master landing under FPV, and the view is worth it. I have found that the Tundra makes an excellent FPV platform for a couple of reasons. The first being is that its canopy for FPV is all wood. The head tracker units aren't the lightest things in the world, so it's nice to have wood to screw into to make them secure. Second is, if you want to fly normally, line of sight, you just pop in the second canopy and it's that easy. And speaking of easy, here's a perfect landing. I've got 90-degree flaps going. The wind is kicking up a little bit as I test out the springs a little in the landing gear as I find the ground. Even with FPV, not every landing is perfect. So in summary, I have found that the Durafly Tundra is not only an excellent plane to fly with, but an excellent plane to FPV with. It does come nicely equipped. Now, I didn't like the bare prop nut, so I added my own spinner. I do like the 90-degree flaps that allow me to land slow and to fly slow. When I'm out at the field, I like to be able to cruise and take a good look around. So this plane allows me to do that, whereas my EFXtra allows me to see the world at 110 miles an hour. Both of these planes by Durafly have been excellent and both feature dual canopies. You guys, this has been my first review. Thanks for watching, and remember that eventually, gravity always wins.